And we want to talk a little bit more about the races in the battleground states that we are talking about at this very moment. Leland Vittert is here, host of NewsNation's On Balance. Leland, as we just heard in Brian's reporting, Senate candidate Herschel Walker and his opponent, Raphael Warnock in Georgia, both seem to have averted controversy in their campaigns. But what would be the keys that allows one of them to pull away with the lead right now, especially as they're in a dead heat?
Oh, right. And especially since one of them has to get above 50% to avoid a runoff, which seems more and more unlikely. The thing probably to watch the most in Georgia is what happens with Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams in the governor's race, because in terms of how this might break late, that will tell us a lot. How far Brian Kemp pulls Herschel Walker up is something significant. How far Stacey Abrams pulls Raphael Warnock down will also be significant here. And this is one of the couple of races around the country we're watching where ticket splitting, voting for one party candidate in the governor's race, one party candidate in the Senate race, will be one of the most significant storylines that we're dealing with on election night.
In Pennsylvania, for the first time, the latest poll shows the script is flipped. Dr. Oz now with a 48 to 46 edge over Fetterman. How big of an impact did our exclusive debate here on NewsNation have on this race?
Well, as you said, the polls have now flipped. There's now one poll that has Mehmet Oz in the lead, which is something in a place that he has not been in. Second of all, we know from the polling that people who watch the debate view Fetterman as less fit for office than those who did not watch the debate. There were a number of people who said they watched and were not impressed with John Fetterman's health. So those give us data points and say the debate really did make an issue, not so much for helping Mehmet Oz in terms of how people saw him, as we said that night at the debate. If it was Mehmet Oz versus Mehmet Oz would have lost that debate because his performance wasn't exactly stellar. But it was Mehmet Oz versus John Fetterman, and John Fetterman's health issues are a very real thing, and that was on display.
In Wisconsin, Republicans are fighting tooth and nail to hold on to Senator Ron Johnson's seat and defeat Democrat Mandela Barnes. Now, back in September, polling showed Barnes leading this race, but Johnson pulled ahead by October. He really began pulling away in the last few weeks. What gave him such a boost?
The national climate certainly changed things, right? Mandela Barnes is a progressive liberal when it comes to the issues that are important to people, especially in Wisconsin. Crime is all the way up there, and that doesn't go over very well. Ron Johnson's been hitting him very hard on that. And the national climate has changed. We can't overstate this enough. The flip right around September 1st for Democrats or for Republicans, however you want to look at it, that happened. And this is where we started to see the trend lines flip in Wisconsin, in Ohio. It's where we started to see Oz do a lot better in Pennsylvania and the like. So much of this conversation right now is a national one, not necessarily a state-by-state local one.
A judge ruled Republican poll watchers must be allowed to witness ballot counting in Green Bay. This hand counting of ballots has also been a big deal in Arizona and Nevada. So what will the discussion around hand counting do to affect election integrity and even how people view our democracy?
Look, anytime elections are in question in America, it's probably not a great thing for how people, quote unquote, view our democracy. The flip side of that is fair and reasonable people can agree we have the freest and fairest elections in the world. Are they perfect? No, but nothing's perfect, perhaps other than my mother, who turned 75 on Friday or on Sunday.
So happy birthday, Mrs. Vittert.
So other than that, I don't know what is perfect in life. And the idea that, is there going to always be, quote unquote, irregularities? Sure. Are those going to be exploited on both sides by people who want to try to make hay over things? Yes. In a country of 360 million people, is the person who gets the most votes the one who has won elections in the past and historically in America over the past 20 years? And is that continuing to get better? That's true, too.
And happy birthday again to your mama. obviously the perfect way for a son to honor his mom on live television and somehow work it into a political story.
I'm not sure she'll be that happy that I said what her age is, but there you go.
Okay.
He's overstepped. He's supposed to say she's 30 again. That's how that works.
Well, she looks 30. Leland, thank you so much. Oh, that was sweet. You can watch On Balance with Leland Vittert tonight and every weeknight. It starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central Time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.